Chelsea Football Club might be the real deal. I remember about a year ago now, I made a video about Chelsea Football Club titled something along the lines of, I am jealous of Chelsea. And around that time, I believe it was between 5 to 10 games into the Premier League season, and it looked like Chelsea were in a title race. And whilst I didn't believe that they would win the title, I thought that they would be there or thereabouts for quite some time. And I thought that they would end up making top four, which actually happened. And in that video, I pointed out so many things that I feel like are positive signs for Chelsea going forward, but I also pointed some potential red flags and issues that they needed to fix. So I would like to revisit some of those opinions following Chelsea's 3-0 win over Paris Saint-Germain in today's video, because this PSG team are no pushovers. They've been compared to the great Barcelona team that won the treble. They've been compared to Manchester City's team that won the treble recently because of their possession-based style, the cohesion that this team has, their high pressing, high intensity football, and just a lot of similarities that have been compared between this PSG team and some of the great European teams of the past. And honestly, I'm not really here to have that conversation. I'm just here to give Chelsea credit where credit is due, because this PSG team beat Real Madrid, they beat Bayern Munich, they beat Atletico Madrid, all en route to the final. They obviously beat Inter Milan 5-0 last season. They had an impressive game against Arsenal over 2 legs. They beat Liverpool, who are now Premier League champions as well. And they've beat a lot of teams who I think are credible, and they deserve a lot of respect. And this Chelsea team have completely and utterly destroyed that PSG team. And there were so many good individual performances yesterday. Xiao Pedro, his link up with Cole Palmer, the two of them were absolutely eye candy to watch yesterday. I mean, Xiao Pedro is looking like he's going to be a really good signing. And Xiao Pedro almost makes the Liam Delap signing not look as good as it is. Because Liam Delap, his debut goal and his debut performance, I think has been completely overshone by how good Xiao Pedro has been. And I don't even know where Liam Delap fits in at Chelsea because of Xiao Pedro. If Xiao Pedro is going to be playing through the middle, then I don't see where Liam Delap kind of fits in here, because Xiao Pedro looks like he's a serious baller. You've then got Cole Palmer, who I think a lot of rivals have tried to discredit. A lot of rivals have tried to say that he's not that good. The season that he had before last was just a flop, or just a flash in the pan, because he's obviously flopped looking at last season and how bad he's been. But I never really bought into that. Because I always felt like Cole Palmer is a victim of his own success. People forget how young this guy is, and people forget, more importantly, how chaotic Chelsea as a football club are. From board level all the way to that first team, I still don't think Chelsea are a team that has all their ducks in a row. I think they still are a football club with a lot of problems. And so when I see a player like Cole Palmer, I always apply that context. I always say to myself, but he's playing for Chelsea. I can't judge him too harshly. I need to wait. I need a bigger sample space to judge this player accurately. And Exhibit A was Sunday's performance against PSG. 3 goal involvements, 2 key passes played into the final third, 1 big chance created as well. I mean, what more do you want from your number 10? And I think it's becoming more evident that if Maresca wants to get the best out of Cole Palmer, he just has to give him freedom. He just has to give him freedom and license to do whatever he wants. If he wants to drift out to the left, let him drift out to the left. If he wants to drift out to that right-hand side and link up with Malo Gusto on the overlap, let him do it. If he wants to play in the half spaces, let him do it. If he wants to sit in between the lines and wait to receive the ball in the final third, let him do it. If he wants to be the funnel of creativity and at the epicenter of everything good for Chelsea, give that man the keys and let him do it. Because one thing I really like about Cole Palmer, besides his technical ability, besides his creativity and just what a mercurial footballer he is, it's his temperament. It's his attitude. It's his energy. And I hate this word because it's become a cliche in the footballing community, but I'm going to use it because I feel like it's actually applicable. I like his aura. I think he's a really confident player. I think he's somebody who understands that he is him. This is a guy who I think many players who moved to Chelsea at the time that he's moved at would crumble under the pressure and struggle. But he has shown that he has a really good head on his shoulders. And he's not the only one. He's not the only one, because Caicedo has been another big part of why Chelsea made top 4. Caicedo, when Cole Palmer was missing and when Cole Palmer wasn't doing what we know Cole Palmer can do, Caicedo was the guy who stepped up. Caicedo was the guy who was like, look, I'm him. I know he's him too, but I am also him. Don't forget, I am also a big dog in this yard and I can do it. Caicedo has shown that as well. Malo Gusto, I thought he had a really decent performance as well. I thought Malo Gusto, for the first time in a long time when I've watched Chelsea, looked really decent. I don't know what happened last season, and I can't quite put my finger on why But I don't feel like Malo Gusto has been that good for a while for Chelsea, but we're now starting to see signs, or at least in the Club World Cup, we've seen signs of that Malo Gusto who played under Pochettino. And I think that he is still a player that can go up levels. Marc Cucurella, another big reason why Chelsea were able to make top four as well. He's also another really good player. But the issue with Chelsea, and this is where we go back into the red flags that I mentioned in the first video I made about Chelsea a while ago, is I still am not fully sold on their defense. I'm not fully sold on Robert Sanchez, despite the fact that he had a really good game against PSG. I'm not fully sold on Trevor Chalobah, despite the fact that he had a really good game against PSG. And I'm not fully sold on Colwill as well. I know that Colwill had a really good game. And again, I am willing to make an apology video and genuinely say that I was wrong and hold my hands up and say that Chelsea actually have a complete team if they produce the goods next season. But as of right now, I still think Chelsea need a new goalkeeper and at least one new centre-back who can really give them that edge that they need, because they've already got a decent midfield. They've already got a decent attack, in my opinion. They do. With João Pedro there, I just think maybe it's not on the level of Man City. Maybe they're not on the level of Arsenal and Liverpool. But everyone else in the league, they're clear. They are 100% miles clear of everyone else in the league, as far as I'm concerned. But their defense is the part where I look at. And when I say defense, I'm not talking about the fullback positions, because again, I rate Cucurella, I rate Gusto a lot. I would take them both at United in a hypothetical world where they would both sign for us. I would take them in a heartbeat. But the centre-back positions for Chelsea for me is where I look at it and I think to myself, I'm not too sure. And that's going to be the key thing going into next season. If Chelsea get a new goalkeeper and a couple of new centre-backs, at least one, I think they will be a serious team. And I think they could exceed a lot of expectations going into next season, because I don't think many people thought that they were going to make top four, and they did. Conference League, we can all laugh at that competition, but that's a huge victory for a young squad. A lot of these players haven't really won silverware before. So for them, winning the Conference League is a huge confidence booster. It will be a great feeling of camaraderie when they won that Conference League. Coupled with the Club World Cup as well, I think this will do wonders for their mentality. I always say with young teams, you obviously aren't going to be able to win the Champions League and you're not going to be able to win the Premier League because you don't have the experience or the quality. But the small trophies, you have to win them, because that's how you breed a winning mentality. That's how you breed a sense of camaraderie within that team. That's how you build that confidence that you need to then eventually go for those big trophies once you do sign the players that you need to build a squad that can go and challenge, you know? That's always been my opinion. So Chelsea Football Club, I feel like a lot of my opinions of them have kind of been vindicated, because there was a period last season where a lot of people were saying, yeah, Chelsea's not it. And I also nearly fell for the trap. I also nearly made a video saying that actually maybe I was wrong about Chelsea, but I decided to wait. And I'm glad I did, because Chelsea are now bearing the fruits of a lot of the labor, a lot of the signings that they've made over the last several months. It will be interesting to see where they go from here. It will be interesting to see if Nico Jackson survives at Chelsea, because with João Pedro and Liam Delap coming into those central forward positions, I don't see a future for Nico Jackson, especially after that awful, horrid performance against Newcastle. And a couple of other unnecessarily horrid performances as well in the league. I think he nearly cost Chelsea top four. So it will be interesting to see if he survives. And I don't think he's a bad player. But again, those performances towards the back end of last season, coupled with the fact that they now have João Pedro, who looks like a serious baller, and Liam Delap, who also looks like a serious footballer. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where Chelsea go from here. But let me know what you think in the comments down below, whether you support Chelsea or you're a rival fan. Where do you think Chelsea are going to finish going into next season? And what do you kind of make of Chelsea's recent progress, I would say? I don't know if there's a better word to use than that, because if you ask me to use a phrase to describe this Chelsea team, that's exactly what I would say. They are a work in progress. I'm not judging this Chelsea team the way I judge Arsenal, the way I judge Liverpool, or the way I judge Manchester City, because I think those three teams, especially City and Liverpool, are on another level. And I think Arsenal are well overdue a big win. They need to win the Champions League or the Premier League. That's my expectations for Arsenal as a rival fan. But for Chelsea, even though they've spent a lot of money, I think that it's important to apply context. Enzo Maresca has nothing to do with the money that was spent under Maurizio Pochettino and Graham Potter. You know, like a lot of what Enzo Maresca is building is very different to what those previous managers were building. And so to kind of tie in the amount of money that Chelsea have spent as if these are all Maresca's signings, I think would be unfair. Maresca is still in his second year as Chelsea manager and is going to start his second season. I can't be a hypocrite and say that he should be winning right now when I haven't afforded that same level of expectation and pressure towards other managers in the league. Just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm going to keep the same energy and say that Maresca, for me, still has time. He still has time to go up a level, especially because they won the Conference League and the Club World Cup. And I feel like if they can win an FA Cup, if they can win a League Cup, that will buy him more time as well. But as for the other teams in the league, I feel like only Arsenal, City and Liverpool are ahead of Chelsea at the moment. And I think Chelsea aren't too far behind those teams either. Remember, they only finished 5 points behind Arsenal and they only finished 1 point or 2 points behind Manchester City last season. So they're not even that far off those teams either, Anyways, it's been your boy Triple M. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day. Peace!